And welcome back, everybody, to the TV show. My name's Jay Black, joined each week by the newly concussed Rhea Hughes. She
Yes.
she she hit
I
her
have a cut
head.
on my nose, so if anybody could see it, walked into a garage about a half hour ago, kind of knocked myself out. So if I sound more ridiculous than usual, there's a reason.
Well, and Angelo, I said it's easier to deal with us if you've had a recent head injury. So I think this is going to be a good show for Rhea. And
Those are the kind of things I do. I can't believe she's doing it.
well, look how great she
It was
looks.
the rain.
She still looks better than us.
She is still together. I showered and combed my hair for this, and Rhea just looks like she stepped
Here,
out of a salon.
right there on my nose, I have a cut, if you can
Oh,
see it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the author of the book Loud, which you can get right now at angelocataldi.com, the one and only Angelo Cataldi. It's not behind you. It's usually back there, Angelo.
I know it. My wife has been moving stuff around. It is a newly revamped website at angelocataldi.com. Please check it out. It's got new photos, and a guy just came along, Dave Rosen, and he took it over, and Dave Rosen is a genius. And this site is way better than I am worthy of. But I think you would really enjoy it.
I can't wait to check it out. In fact, I will check it out as soon as this podcast is over. If you're driving and listening to this podcast, make sure you pull over before checking it out. We don't want you to get into an accident because we love you. You're a valued listener to us. And we got a lot to get to today. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was I sent you an article from Awful Announcing about Major League Baseball. Looks like ESPN wants to renegotiate or possibly opt out of their contract that was supposed to run through, I think, 2028, but they want to opt out, not at the end of 2025, but possibly at the end of this season, 2024, because they're not super thrilled with the ratings and they don't think they're getting enough content for their money and a whole bunch of reasons. And this comes right after the latest ratings for the NCAA tournament, which are way up year over year. And Angelo, I think you very rightly said the NCAA tournament lends itself to gambling more than maybe just about any other thing that you can do. And they leaned into the gambling, and it seems like that has helped with the ratings. And so my question, this is a long intro to say, it seems to me that if I were the Major League Baseball, maybe leaning into gambling would be the way to go to goose the ratings, but you can't do that because baseball very famously, that's the one thing that baseball, like, Pete Rose, and then we have this whole thing with Ohtani. Is there a solution to save baseball, and is it gambling, is my question, Angelo Cataldi.
It's not gambling. It's not gambling, believe it or not. Here's all I get. When I say this, Rhea Hughes is going to lose consciousness even more than she did when she hit her head. All right? On 2 nights ago, I had a sports choice to make. I could watch the Phillies game, which was a very close game, 2-2, or I could watch women's basketball, right? Now, in any life prior to this one, I would have watched the baseball. I was more interested in LSU versus Iowa State because LSU has this nutty coach, Kim Mulvey, who dresses but unbelievably provocative.
Yeah.
Really great. And Caitlin Clark, who is maybe the greatest women's basketball player of all time. And what sells to this day, I realized then, is not gambling. It's storylines. It's personality. Rhea, isn't that the real thing?
You're 100% correct because, and let's throw Angel Reese in there because I love Angel Reese. I can't stand her coach at LSU. It's stars. Here's the problem with baseball. Number one, it's provincial. So it's really, in markets. But years ago, and you've always had a problem with Mike Trout, and I used to rip you for this, but you're 100% correct. The commissioner of baseball went after Mike Trout a couple years ago and said he really needs to put himself out there more to promote our sport. Yeah. All you've heard about what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have done is grown women's 12.3 million people were watching.
Incredible.
And you need storylines. Listen, Bryce Harper is really a lot of fun. And this, if this team had won the World Series, then baseball might have gotten a kick because of the crowds, the storylines, the craziness of that locker. They need stars, but they need stars who have personalities. Storylines from the beginning of time sell, sell, sell.
That's the biggest thing. The gambling's big, Jay. Baseball's not a great sport for gambling. Too many games, too many situations. It's just.
And here's what I'll tell you though: I did gamble on a Phillies game the other night. Yeah. I did a parlay. I did a crazy parlay that I didn't think had any chance. I think it was like 10 legs, and I had the chance to win like. I spent $10, but I had the chance to win like $18,000. I actually hit on 6 of them.
Wow! So how much did you get?
0.
Well, I just want to follow up with this question. Does that mean, Rhea, you said that baseball is provincial. I agree with you. If you live in the Northeast, you care about the Phillies and how they do with the Mets, and that's basically it. There's no real national presence for baseball. Is it doomed to become a small regional sport? Is it doomed to not have these big $500 million a year national contracts? I mean, is it just going to be an ever shrinking market for baseball? I mean, is that what we're headed, or is there a way to fix it?
Baseball hurt themselves for years by only promoting the Yankees and the Red Sox, which is a tremendous rivalry. But there are other great, like back in the day, the NHL, I didn't care for the Detroit Red Wings or the Colorado Avalanche, but you want to know something? They were going to kill each other every time they played. And when they played, I watched them. Rivalries do sell. So they have to create that a little bit more. But I would say, Ann, what do you say? 20 years, all you would see on Sunday Night Baseball were the Yankees and the Red Sox until the whole country was bored with it.
And now that rivalry isn't as much as it was before. Jay, you're a script writer. You should understand this better than anybody. The better the story, the more intense the interest is.
Yes.
And Rhea nailed it with Mike Trout. So many of the biggest stars in baseball are boring people. They're not Reggie Jackson.
Right, yeah.
They need larger-than-life people. But nowadays, I don't know if it's because they're so rich or what it is, most of them don't put out the big personality that makes it fun to watch them. Some people are going to love that person. Some people are going to hate them. But it's going to get more people watching. And they don't have that in baseball right now.
A growling, taciturn dude who just hits, grounders, nobody cares about. We need bigger interest. That makes sense to me. All right. So speaking of storylines, we got an epic 12-season storyline coming to an end. And Angelo, before we even get into it, this season of Curb, I think has been great. Have you enjoyed this season? I think it's been. He's at the top of his game in his 70s, at the top of his game, Larry.
Love it. It's been so awkward and squirmy and fun. I've loved this season.
And did you like Springsteen on the last episode? Not a great actor.
I haven't seen the last one yet.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. Well, Springsteen shows up.
It's got an old demographic with Larry David at Springfield, but it's my demographic. I'll be checking it out.
Well, it's coming to an end next week. And Angelo, you brought up, and I have a very controversial opinion, which I think that the final episode of Seinfeld was great. I enjoyed it day one when it happened in 98, and I've been defending it ever since. I like the Sopranos ending. I like the Seinfeld ending. If you produce a bad ending, I'm the guy to show it to because I'll like it. But it did not go over well. And, I think, Angelo, you rightly pointed out, maybe the one blemish on Larry David's record is that Seinfeld finale. He's had pretty much.
It's not maybe.
It is.
Rhea was not too. It was awful.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was a bad ending. And here's the thing, and I know this is a dumb way to relate to it, but a year ago, I was at my final shows myself. And I felt incredible pressure and strong. And if Larry David, all the craziness with him, he has to feel insane pressure that if he blows the ending to Curb the way he did with Seinfeld. He even had the Seinfeld people back, I think it was season 6, to kind of redo the ending, kind of give it a better closure. because I think that was his acknowledgement. He didn't think it was that great either, right? He's got to land. He's got to stick the ending, Jack. He has to have an ending that doesn't try to wrap up every old storyline. He's got to just have an ending that's like his show this year. Hilarious right to the end.
Are you? Sorry.
A question for you, just at the end, because I'm not a Curb fan. I tried it early on.
Right.
At the end of every season, has his endings been great? Have they been cliffhangers? So has he nailed it in the previous, 12 seasons, or have they always just kind of been like, eh?
He's had a couple. He's had a couple. Like I'm thinking about the chef with the Tourette's.
Yeah,
that brought in.
Don't bring that up around Angelo.
Yeah. You may need to say more about that, Jay. That doesn't sound great.
But no, do you remember this season where the chef I think it was Larry's restaurant had a problem with yelling out curse words, and everybody from the season was in the restaurant. Yeah, and he starts cursing, and then Larry starts cursing, and then everybody starts cursing. That was a great ending. I think he's capable of great endings and bringing it all together. Are you worried, Angelo, that it seems like it's headed towards a Seinfeldian ending because it's going to end with a trial? And if you remember, Seinfeld ended with a trial. Larry's ending with a trial.
This is Larry doubling down. It wouldn't even shock me if he tries the same thing again and brings all the people back from the failed ending at Seinfeld for one last shot. Whatever he does, you know what? To end his career, this is probably it for Larry. He's old, all right?
Yeah.
He needs this to end great. And I'm rooting hard for him because I love his work. I think he's the funniest guy probably in my lifetime on TV.
Yeah.
But he has to land this ending. It's very important. I hope he knows it.
I'll just say this. His press tour has been very relaxed. And what I mean is he doesn't look nervous. He looks unhinged in a very Larry David kind of way. So that kind of fills me with a little confidence that maybe he's like, he knows he's got something good and he's not worried. We'll see. They check back next week, everybody. We will have a review of the Curb finale, and we'll decide if he stuck the landing or not.
Rhea, watch that one at least, so you'll have a chance.
Watch that.
You don't even need to know the act. It's just he's acting awkward every week. You know how it is.
I worked with you 26 years. I know awkward.
I would say Angelo is a much friendlier version of Larry David.
I thought we landed our ending. That's all I'm saying. We hit our ending. We did a good ending.
I think you should have ended by having the same discussion you had in your first segment, like Larry David did.
No, what I did is I ended it by ripping someone the way I did for all 33 years. And I felt this is the way it should end. It should be a throwback to what I've been doing.
I agree.
I ended it with an update honoring Angelo and went right into a diet commercial.
So last week we had a review from me of Roadhouse, and I got my favorite kind of text, which is Angelo watched it and then wrote me I loved that movie, even though it was super cheesy. And we talked about it, and I wanted to get Angelo's opinion on it, but I also wanted to chat a little bit about cheesy movies that we love, because this has entered the pantheon, the new Roadhouse. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. My son loved it. I loved it. Angelo apparently also loved it. Angelo, what were your thoughts on that?
You're misquoting me. What I said is, it's the stupidest movie I've ever really enjoyed. All right? And Rhea, it's just awful violence. I mean, if anyone ever got punched as often as these people get punched, getting up, it's a joke. But Jake Gyllenhaal is great in it. And I love the whole concept of a bully getting put in his place. I love that concept. But Jay, I really liked it. I liked the movie. I went back and watched the original.
Oh, wow.
Swayze.
What'd you think of that?
What was fascinating, if you want to really watch the way movies have changed, watch the Swayze movie of Roadhouse in 1980 and then or 1989, and then watch the movie that they just put out with Jake Gyllenhaal. The first movie was way sexier.
Yeah.
Bare breasts, hot women, sex scenes. All of that.
Guys. Don't forget the hot guys for the ladies, because Patrick Swayze was one of them.
A lot of hot guys, a lot of really fat, ugly guys too.
Yes.
Really nasty guy. Because the in this Roadhouse series, the bad guys are like cartoon bad. There's nothing good about them. They're horrible, and the whole concept is you should be hating them. Both movies were very entertaining.
Yes.
But I always get at the end of a movie like that, I want to punch someone. Really, the violence, it's just, it's so, when you're watching it, they know what they're doing is stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
But it works. People love it. And I did. I
would argue the original Roadhouse, Angelo, Patrick, the reason why that one is such a beautiful work of art is that Patrick Swayze, I believe, thinks he's making a very good movie. I don't think he thinks he's making a bad movie. I think when he's shirtless doing the Tai Chi on the lake, in his head, he's like, I'm killing this right now.
Yes.
This is going to be an all-time great. Jake Gyllenhaal knows that he's making a cheesy movie. But real quick, do you have a cheesy movie on your list that people should check out? Rhea, what do you got? What is your cheesy movie?
One of my all-time favorite cheesy movies has Nicolas Cage in it, John Malkovich, a lot of other people. Con Air.
I love it. Love it.
This is one of the things I miss that I'm a total streamer now. Because if I would be flipping around and Con Air was like an hour into it, I'm like, I'm busy for the next hour. The lines by Nicolas Cage in it are so cheesy. Malkovich is ridiculous. Who's the guy who plays the air marshal?
John Cusack. God.
John Cusack. He's in it. He's phenomenal in it. That is one of the cheesiest movies that if it's on, I will watch it.
Yeah,
love that. Great choice.
I had a thing for Lara Flynn Boyle years ago, and I watched Men in Black.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, again, Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith. I would not watch now because what he did on the Oscar stage, but it was stupid. But I wanted to see Lara Flynn Boyle. I ended up liking the movie, but I don't normally like this genre at all because it's just so stupid. Hey, really check your brain at the door. But I know you like it, Jay, right?
I do. I love it, and I'll give you a cheesy movie from my youth. It's you might know it, you might not. It's called The Last Dragon. Berry Gordy's The Last Dragon. It was produced by the Motown Impresario. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Impresario. I didn't know where to put the accent. Thank you. It's a movie that is a great. What's the word I'm looking for? It's an homage to all those really bad blaxploitation movies of the 70s, but it's done in the 80s. It's about a guy who goes to China and he calls himself Bruce Leroy. And he comes back and it's tons of great fighting. And at one point he gets the glow. He gets kung fu powers that are so powerful. He starts to glow and it's ridiculous. It stars Vanity is in it. The great.
Vanity.
From the 80s. Worth checking out. The Last Dragon. Watch all three of those movies and you'll have a great afternoon. Not as great as us though, because we're about to hear the British and teen segment from Rhea. What do you got for us this week?
Well, I'm doing, normally you guys know I like to do like a lot of murders and murder mysteries and all that kind of stuff. I have a warm and fuzzy British movie for you to watch. Very surprised. Right. It's called The Beautiful Game on Netflix. Now it stars, I never know how to pronounce his name, Jay. You'll know Bill Nighy.
Yes.
N-I-G. Yeah, Bill Nighy. Who, by the way, what is he not good in? I love him and everything. So he stars as the manager of England's homeless football team. Here in the States, obviously, we know that is soccer. I didn't even know there was a homeless World Cup. It's been going on for about 20 years. And what it is, they're designed to create awareness about people, who are struggling in society. There are 3 criteria in order to be eligible for the Homeless World Cup. And it's all over the world. They've been in a million places. This one is in Rome. So if you want to see some beautiful shots of Rome, you'll love it. So to qualify, you have to have been homeless at some point in the past year. So the main character in this, Vinny, is played by Michael Ward. This guy's going to be a star. He's amazing. So he'd been homeless, ran into some trouble, got divorced. So he winds up on the team. You can also go for asylum in a country. And that's this guy, Aldar, played by Rob Nazari. He's my favorite person in this. And then if you struggle with addiction, and then that's this guy, Nathan, played by Callum Scott House. 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, 71 by audience. I think because maybe it was a little too long. It's just the story of them going to Rome to participate in this amazing event, and the honesty with which all these people talk about their troubles. And it's based on stories. It's not based on a true story.
Sure.
They've taken the stories from all this. And I absolutely loved it. I mean, it was they weren't trying to beat you over the head with anything. They just told a great story about people who have struggles. Being on a team makes such a difference, when you're on a team. And I absolutely thought it was a beautiful movie. I think people will like it.
And that's a real thing. Where can we find it again, Rhea?
So it's on Netflix. It's called The Beautiful Game, and it's new. It's it literally came out, I believe, this year, either late 2023 or 2024. I love it. The people on his team, despite the different struggles they have, they're not patronizing about their stories,
right.
and there's a lot of funny moments in it, so you'll laugh too. So I enjoyed it.
All right, check that out. And what do you got for us on Teen Corner?
I think you two are going to actually love this, and I was shocked. So, Clark's got the girlfriend. She was over on Monday night, and they were downstairs watching a movie. And I said, "Oh, what movie did you watch?" She goes, "Dumb Money." Have either of you guys seen it?
Yes.
Loved it. So I'll just get, it's about that famous GameStop thing that happened during COVID.
Right.
The YouTuber guy posted, for all these, they called that. I didn't really know what dumb money meant. So dumb money is derisively in the trading business known as retail investors. So he told all these people to buy all this GameStop stock because the hedge fund billionaires were trying to short sale it.
Yeah.
And wound up costing some of those billionaires like a lot of money. One of them, by the way, Ange, is I believe Stephen Cohen, who owns the Mets.
Oh, really?
Was involved in that. Yeah. He was advising some people, hedge fund people, who got caught up in that. So it eventually led to a congressional hearing. The interesting thing is I did a little backstory in it. So the guy who started this, his name was Keith Gill. After he did the congressional hearing, and it's believed he got somewhere between $20 and $35 million before they put a stop to it, has pretty much disappeared.
Well, I would too.
He doesn't post anymore. They reached out many times to have him, because this was all based off a book. Not involved with the movie, not involved with the book. He no longer posts anymore. But there's a lot of interesting people in this movie. I know, Angelo, you don't like it. Pete Davidson plays his brother. Shailene Woodley's in it. Well, I don't think he's got a big role in it. Seth Rogen is in it. American Ferrara. Clark thought it was an amazing story. He was fascinated because he doesn't really know a lot about the stock market. He's 14. He thought it was a great story.
And what's that on, Rhea? Is that
that you can get that on Netflix, Amazon, Apple. It's everywhere.
Everywhere. Right. Dumb Money.
Netflix is free. The other's a subscription. I looked it up, and it's got 85% audience rating.
Yeah.
It's very, very well thought of. That's a great recommendation. Awesome.
And what do you got for us this week, Angelo?
I'm never late. Rhea could tell you this. I was a couple of minutes late for this because I was watching literally the last minute of an incredible documentary. Last year, I told you the documentary Still on Michael J. Fox was the best documentary in a year of great documentaries. This is as good, and it's the best one of this year so far. It's called Steve with an exclamation point, all capitals. It is a 2-part documentary on Apple Plus about Steve Martin. And I don't know if anyone in the history of show business has had a more exciting and interesting career than him. He was the biggest stand-up comedian in history. He sold out stadiums.
Yep.
He was spectacular. It was not jokes. It was weird stuff. There was a big debate for years about whether or not he was actually funny.
Huh.
And he knocked him dead for 5 years, 5 incredible, successful years after 15 bad ones. It took he was doing shows in bowling alleys. He was doing shows with 5 people there. He was and he honed it. It took forever. When he was 6 years old, he decided he was going into showbiz, and he said he would give himself till 30 to become a star. And he made it right around 30.
Wow.
And he did magic. He's a banjo player. He's a great writer. So the first half is his incredible stand-up success. And then the second half is his film success. And then a little lull. And then his family life. He got married in his 60s.
Yep. Got married really late. Yeah.
And had a kid late in life. And the second part is his creative life with film and television. And there's only one thing I would say that's criticism of it, and that is that he really didn't do very much with how he came up with the TV show, which is also a huge success now. Murders in the Building. He didn't. I
know it. I know the story.
You did. He never told the story.
I'm amazed because it's a great story, because I love, I'm obsessed with Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
So what happened was he was at a dinner party with the co-writer. Now I think the guy's first name is John. I'm not sure what the second name is. He was at a dinner party. He says, "Hey, I have a great idea for a show." And he tells the guy, "Guys, it's great." He goes, "Good, you write it. That's all I got is the idea." Like, he literally came up with the idea.
Wow.
And then I do think he's listed as a co-writer, but he just said to the guy, "I think this is a great idea." And they were at some dinner party, I believe, at some famous guy's house. And that's how that came to be.
All he says about it is when he wrote it, he decided to be in it because he was going to have to be there anyway, because he was the writer of it. But he didn't really get into how he became a huge success in a TV show. He has been successful in just about every part of showbiz. And it's amazing. A phenomenal story, very well told, very funny. And I was so completely swept up in it, I almost blew my cue for this. It was great. Steve on Apple Plus, you'll love it.
Check that out, everybody. And I have a quick review. I watched over the weekend Godzilla X Kong, the new King Kong movie. They spent $135 million on this, and I'm just going to say this: stop spending $135 million on B minuses, everybody. If you're going to spend $135 million on a movie, I want to see a spectacular movie or a spectacular failure. And I just feel like these movies that are cut into mediocrity. And how does that feel at the end of your time working on a movie that size? And what you get is a movie that my son and I both walked out of and went, "Yeah, okay." That's it. Right. It was $135 million. Years of talent and energy went into this thing. I'll say that the models that they have for King Kong are amazing. The Kong looks like a real ape that is 300 feet tall, as my brain would imagine it to look like. There's some interesting stuff that they do. I would wait for this one to come out on Max if you are not a big King Kong fan, but it is worth seeing on a big screen if you like a lot of spectacle with very little substance. That's what you're going to get with Godzilla X Kong. They're running out of letters.
Jay, I got to say this because you have caused the problem in my brain.
Yeah.
A while back, you recommended another Godzilla movie, Godzilla -1.
Yes.
And for some reason, I looked it up, and it is an absolute phenomenon.
It's great.
It has a critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes of 98 and an audience rating of 98, right?
Yeah.
So I decided, Jay was kind of right about Roadhouse. I think I want to check out Godzilla -1. Because of the Godzilla movie you just described, they made a deal that they would not let the better Godzilla movie out for months.
It's
so
stupid.
That it would give the bad Godzilla movie, the one you just reviewed, a chance to make its money. And then they're going to bring out streaming the good Godzilla movies.
It's the dumbest thing.
I'm waiting for the good one.
It's the dumbest thing, too, because they got a buzz from the Oscars because they won the Oscar for Best Special Effects. And the people that are going to see Godzilla X Kong are not the ones that are waiting to see Godzilla -1 on streaming. You're not going to eat into it. It's stupid. And Godzilla -1 is spectacular. When it comes out, definitely check it out. It is wonderful.
Absolutely. Let me go over what we got. If Major League Baseball, if you would like to see a game, check your local listings. They're everywhere. They're on streamers now. They're on regional networks. They're everywhere. If you would like to see Curb Your Enthusiasm, the final episode, it is on Max Sunday night. I think it's 9 or 10. Roadhouse, both versions. The early version with Patrick Swayze and the current with Jake Gyllenhaal are both on Amazon Prime. The Beautiful Game is on Netflix. Dumb Money is also on Netflix. And the documentary Steve is on Apple Plus. And in theaters now is Godzilla versus Kong.
And one last thing before you guys stop listening to us, if you are seeing this before April 6th, if you are a T-Mobile subscriber, you can get Major League Baseball ticket for free. So all you need to do is go to your T-Mobile website. I just subscribed to it. It is absolutely free and very painless. So if you're a T-Mobile subscriber, you can get MLB TV for free. Do that now. Go to AngeloCataldi.com right now to check out his brand new website and also to buy his book. You can either buy the one that has words in it or the one where Angelo's telling it to you. Either way, you got to check it out. Special thanks to Jared Clapper, who does all our production work. And we got some news coming up on the sponsorship front we'll be able to talk about very soon. We can't talk about it now, but we have the podcast is growing thanks to you. Tell 2 friends about us and keep downloading us every week because we're going to be here every week. We'll see you guys later.